Derek Carr, just recently released by the Raiders. Derek Carr, best fits. What do you think, Matt?
The coaching staff that Carolina's put together with Jim Caldwell as like a senior assistant, with Deuce Staley as an assistant coach and running backs coach. The Saints, I don't know how they pull it off financially, but that would be a good fit.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
May be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Okay, so PointsBet updated their board. They've got the Panthers there as the favorites to land Derek Carr, followed very closely by the Saints, a team that Derek Carr obviously visited last week, and there were some reports that maybe they try to work out some kind of trade. Whatever, not going to happen. The Jets are also in the mix. The Jets, again, reportedly, maybe in the mix for Aaron Rodgers as well. But I don't know. Derek Carr, best fits. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I don't love the Panthers one, just because I think, well, there's two teams here, the Colts and the Panthers, who I think have pretty clearly set up that they want, like a young, they want to get a young quarterback. Even damn Jim Irsay at the press conference today introducing Shane Steichen's like, you know what, the kid, this is my best Jim Irsay voice. Yeah, the kid from Alabama, he looks pretty good. Am I right? Which, by the way, they definitely want CJ Stroud. They don't actually want Bryce Young. They want CJ Stroud. That's for that for sure. But anyways, like, I think they want a young guy in there because they're sick of the veteran quarterback carousel. I also think Frank Reich, the old Panthers coach, and the old Colts coach, and the Panthers themselves are sick of being on the veteran quarterback carousel. The coaching staff that Carolina's put together with Jim Caldwell as like a senior assistant, with Deuce Staley as an assistant coach and running backs coach. Josh McCown, fresh off the Underdog YouTube stream with Josh Norris, he's going to be the quarterback coach. Frank Reich himself. These guys are quarterback groomers. It would make sense for them to try to get their mitts on a young guy. So I think those two teams don't make a lot of sense to me. The Saints, I don't know how they pull it off financially, but that would be a good fit, right? Dennis Allen is the former Raiders coach. He has familiarity with Derek Carr, and he certainly would be better. He certainly would be better than Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston. I don't know, like, from a Saints perspective, that like moves the needle much for me. Like, oh yeah, now I think the Saints are, but they could win the division, right? I think the Bucs also make sense in the NFC South as well. Just keep the window open a little bit longer. Get just competency at the quarterback position a little bit better than competency, and go try to win the NFC South. That's why I think Bucs and Saints are probably the two teams that make the most sense to me. And my God, I would love to see like Derek Carr with Chris Olave. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Well, I think the Bucs make a whole lot of sense too, because if they eventually get their O-line healthy, which, by the way, this year was just an absolute nightmare on the health front for the offensive line for Tampa Bay. But if they get their O-line healthy, that's always been the story with Derek Carr, right? Like, ever since he broke his leg, he's been very skittish in the pocket.
Yeah.
Right? If they can get him some stability there up front, and I think the Bucs probably offer the best solution at O-line, although the Saints are right there too. I take that back. The Saints are right there in terms of their O-line as well. But I just think
they got a little bit worse this last year, but they've got the guys there to potentially have a decent line.
Yeah, exactly. It'll at least be decent. And the Bucs too. It's like, the year Tom Brady won the Super Bowl, their line was just like legendarily good,
Yeah.
Not the case as we go into 2023. But either way, I think both destinations are interesting. I like the Bucs just a little bit more.
Me too.
Just because of the receivers. They've got two guys that are obviously established veterans. And they have to be more in like a win now mode versus the Saints. I think they're just, I don't know. I think they're not that close. It's funny, when Derek Carr ages out, I think the entire team ages out, and then they just hit the giant reset button on the whole team, right? So it seems like their timelines would match up a little bit better, in my opinion.
The Saints, who knows what the hell the Saints think of themselves or what the Saints are every year. They're always a bit mysterious there, that's for sure. The only thing that is tough with the Bucs is that they do have to deal with Tom Brady's dead cap hit, being on the team because he retired, because they pushed those like years into the future and all that stuff. But yeah, they can, and they are currently like I think $55 million over the salary cap for this year. So they will have to figure
What
things
are the
out.
Saints though? I mean, the Saints are always
Oh,
in cap hell. Jesus.
Yeah, and look, we know that the cap can be
It's
finagled.
fake
The
money.
cap, yeah. The Saints are $57 million. These are the two teams, by the way, that we're talking about that are the most over over the cap right now. But then you see like guys who covered the Saints, like Nick Underhill, who every year he's got an article like, here's how the Saints can clear $60 million in cap space just by hitting the like brew coffee button on the coffee maker in the office there. So they certainly can get the job done. The team that would be another NFC South team, I think, like we talked about the Falcons, that would be interesting. Falcons have $56 million in cap right now. If Derek Carr is just signing anywhere, why not the Falcons, right? I mean, I think that, like, obviously there's some positives. Like, you'd think that Arthur Smith wants to have a guy with a bit more mobility in his back pocket because he targeted Marcus Mariota, Ryan Tannehill. Is a guy who can move a little bit more than Derek Carr, but like,
doesn't that surprise you though that he went that direction? Because like I don't know, to me his offense actually runs much better under center than it does from shotgun. And generally, when we're talking about mobile quarterbacks, you want them from shotgun because they're able to kind of like see the field a little bit better, right? And Derek Carr to me is a much better quarterback than some other young signal callers from under center than he is from shotgun. Not saying that he can't run it from shotgun, because obviously he can, but he looks pretty comfortable under center as well. So I don't know. I agree with you. I think it makes a lot of sense for Arthur Smith to try to bring in somebody like Derek Carr.
Dome team too. If you look at some of Derek Carr's career splits, they're not as friendly when he has to go outdoors. Cali guy through and through. You guys can't handle the weather. We know that. He's him and Jared Goff just like, let's just play in September. Let's just play in October, and then it's in December. We better be in a dome, baby. We better be in a dome. So maybe Falcons dome team, Saints dome team. Maybe those are the best fits for Derek Carr because of that. But yeah, I don't know. The Falcons are interesting. Like, I'm curious as to what they think their window is, right? Because they've got talent, on offense, right? Like, they have Drake London, who I think very highly of. I think Kyle Pitts is getting a little bit too much crap for the season that he had last year. I think he's a guy had 1,000 yards as a rookie tight end. Nobody ever does that ever. I think he's a good player. They have a really good run game, and the offensive line's pretty good. And definitely, like you mentioned, you want to have a good offensive line if you have Derek Carr, because he does get a little trigger happy when he has got a lot of pressure on. He will get to that check down pretty quickly. But if the guys are checking down, she's like Cordero Patterson as a receiving back, I think that could be pretty exciting there if you're in Atlanta. I agree with you that I think the Jets, they're certainly easy to talk about for Derek Carr, and it sounds like they want a veteran quarterback.